very good evening and a warm welcome to the Business Roundup on another weekend. We at Television bring you as usual another collection of latest happenings and developments in the business arena easing your decision-making moments. Let's have a look at the headlines for today. President calls repatriated Sri Lankans who are employed abroad to join the local labour force. In contrary to several international agencies, Central Bank expects a contraction of GDP in the second half of 2020. 25% reduction provided on domestic electricity bills for last March, April and May. News in detail. Co-Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena announces that the Cabinet has agreed to provide a 25% reduction on electricity bills for consumers those who had used less than 90 units per month in the months of March, April and May. Co-Cabinet spokesperson Gunawardena brought forward many other concessions given for the electricity consumers of the country, addressing the weekly Cabinet press briefing held in the Department of Government last Thursday.
මහින්ද අමරවීර අමාත්‍යතුමා ඒ නිලධාරීන් හා විශේෂඥ ආයතන ඉංජිනේරු පාලකයින් සමග සාකච්ඡා කරලා විශාල පිරිවැයක් දරාගෙන සහන මල්ලක් විදුලි බල පරිභෝජකයන්ට ඉදිරිපත් කළා. ඒ සහන මල්ලේ තිබුණා 0 සිට 90 දක්වා යුනිට් පරිභෝජනය කරන පරිභෝගකයන්ට මාර්තු අප්‍රේල් මැයි කියන මාස තුන සඳහා 125ක ගාස්තු අඩු කිරීමක් කරන්න. ලැබිලා තියෙන බිල් පතෙන් 125ක් අඩු කරන්න. ඊළඟට තවත් මාස 3ක කාලයක් ඒ බිල් පත ගෙවීම සඳහා ලබා දෙන්න. පමා කාලය වෙනුවෙන් කිසිදු දඩ මුදලක් අය නොකිරීම. මොනම හේතුවක් නිසාවත් විදුලිය විසන්ධි නොකිරීම කියන සහනයන් ජනතාවගේ පැත්තට ප්‍රදානය කරන්න එතුමා විසින් අමාරුවෙන් අලාභ විඳගෙන මේ යෝජනාව ඉදිරිපත් කළා. එයින් කුටුම්බයන්ගෙන් 73%කට ඍජුව විශාල වාසියක් ලැබෙන බව තමයි එතුමා සඳහන් කළේ.
Speaking further, Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena added that further concessions will be provided to the electricity users of the country in the coming weeks. Gunawardena said that the Minister Amaravira was asked to find out whether further relief could be given through this package, such as increasing the 25% reduction up to 120 units.
In the contrary to the several international agencies, an official from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka said that the country expects a contraction of gross domestic product in the second half of 2020. The senior Central Bank official also added that accordingly they are hopeful of revising the 1.5% GDP growth forecast for the year.
In 2019, Sri Lanka's growth slowed to 2.3%, lowest since 2001 as the economy was beset by the Easter Sunday attacks. In the first week of June, the World Bank projected a deeper recession for the Sri Lankan economy, which is a contraction of 3.2%, revising down its mid-April forecast of 3% contraction for 2020 projected at the height of the pandemic. The IMF maintained a much milder negative outlook with only 0.5% contraction projected for Sri Lanka and also said will revise it again. At the meantime, the World Bank said that the Sri Lankan economy will not rebound until 2022 as the country will only make its lost output during the whole of 2021. However, Central Bank projected a 1.5% GDP growth for 2020 after the coronavirus epidemic started in 2020, down from around 4% at the beginning of the year. However, senior officials said there was a lot of uncertainty about the global as well as domestic economic condition in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. He further added that the country's first quarter GDP is expected to be released in the next week and the observation of those data will allow a good platform to revise the forecast. He further said that the central bank expected the second quarter GDP to contract, but there would be a recovery in the second half.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa states that repatriated Sri Lankans who are employed outside the country will now have the choice to join the local labour force without returning abroad. Addressing the International Labour Organization's Global Summit on COVID-19 and the World of Work Building a Better Future of Work, President Rajapaksa added that the skills sector of the country require a rethinking in order to accommodate the new normal of the post-COVID period.
Sri Lanka has a considerable workforce that is employed outside the country. Even during the period where restrictions for air travel were imposed, we have repatriated nearly 15,000 Sri Lankans from destinations abroad so far. This fraction of the labour force will now have the choice to join the local labour force without returning to their original countries of employment. This in turn will shape the new normal of our world of work. Skills sector of Sri Lanka required a rethinking and re-engineering in order to accommodate the new normal of the post-COVID period. Reskilling and upskilling of employees will be addressed in our action plan to empower those who lost employment during this crisis. Sri Lanka views this as a stepping stone towards reshaping her world of work to suit the new normal in the post-COVID-19 period.
Co-Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena last Tuesday stressed that the government has no any move to remove or reduce the interest rates in senior citizens' accounts. Addressing a specially arranged media briefing, Minister said that some social media as well as mainstream media has erroneously reported that the interest rate given on senior citizens for their fixed deposits and savings were reduced. Speaking to the media, the Government Information Department, Minister Gunawardena said that some of the media reports have stated that the government had decided to reduce the interest rates of the senior citizen accounts to 8% from the current 15% rate while removing tax relief on their interest income. Minister Gunawardena, however, said that the relief program to provide higher interest rates to senior citizen accounts than the market rates has commenced in 2014 under then President and now Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He also added that when banks pay a higher interest for senior citizen accounts than the normal market rates, then the Treasury is bound to refinance the difference in the interest payment to the respective banks. Moreover, he stressed that the tax relief on the interest income for senior citizens was not removed, as reported by some media. He added that the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, as the Finance Minister of the current government, gave a tax relief package where all incomes, including interest income and rental income, are free from income tax up to 2.5 million rupees monthly and 3 million rupees annually. Meanwhile, Finance Ministry in a statement said that there haven't been any changes to relief given to the bank accounts of senior citizens. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Japanese government pledged another grant aid of over 100 million rupees for Sri Lanka to combat against the COVID-19 global pandemic. The MOU regarding the grant aid was signed last Wednesday, and the officials said that the grant will be mainly used for the provision of necessary medical equipment.
As per a request of the government of Sri Lanka, the government of Japan has agreed to provide approximately 1,360 million rupees grant aid under the Japanese non-project grant aid scheme for the provisioning of necessary medical equipment. Finance Ministry sources revealed that according to the understanding between the countries, the grant will be utilized to purchase medical equipment such as MRI scanners, CT scanners, bedside X-ray systems, central monitors, bedside monitors and defibrillators, etc. to strengthen the COVID-19 preventing activities in Sri Lanka. Ministry sources also added that though the country has achieved significant progress in preventing disease, the health system in Sri Lanka needs more facilities to maintain the usual day-to-day activities within the country which were prevalent in the country before the COVID-19 pandemic. Equipment procured under this grant such as MRI scanners, CT scanners, X-ray systems and central monitors, which will be immediately installed at the selected hospitals and treatment centers, will lead the efforts in combating COVID-19. The exchange of notes pertaining to the above grant was signed by Finance Ministry Secretary S.R. Artikala on behalf of the Government of Sri Lanka and Japanese Ambassador in Sri Lanka, Sugiyama Akira, at the Ministry of Finance, Economic and Policy Development.
The central bank last Monday announced that the Monetary Board of CBSL has decided to extend the suspension order on Perpetual Treasuries Limited from carrying on the business and activities of a primary dealer for a period of another 6 months with effect from last Sunday. The Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, acting in terms of the regulations made under the Registered Stock and Securities Ordinance and the Local Treasury Bills Ordinance, has decided to extend the suspension of Perpetual Treasuries Limited from carrying on the business and activities of a primary dealer for a period of 6 months. The central bank in a statement said the suspension came into effect from 4:30 p.m. last Sunday in order to continue the investigations being conducted by the Central Bank Bond Scam of Sri Lanka. A presidential commission of inquiry which probed the bond auctions that allegedly benefited perpetual treasuries has recommended criminal action against those involved in it. Former Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahendra, who happens to be the father-in-law of Perpetual Treasuries owner Arjun Aloysius, is absconding court and has an Interpol red notice for his arrest. The Board of Investment of Sri Lanka inks an agreement with Dart Global Logistics to set up a state-of-the-art logistics fulfillment centre at the Mudurajwela Industrial Zone located in Keravalapitia in Vattala with an investment of over $3 million.
Accordingly, the agreement was signed for the investment by Board of Investment Chairman Susantha Ratnayaka and Chief Operating Officer of Dart Global Logistics Jude Vijayasundara and Group CEO of Dart Global Logistics S. Mohandas. The Logistics Fulfillment Centre will offer top-of-the-range third-party logistics services under one roof for various industry verticals. The 10,000 pallet position capacity warehouse with a state-of-the-art warehouse management system, latest material handling equipment and a well-trained team of logistics professionals is geared to handle a multitude of cargo requirements. Some of the services offered by this facility includes multi-user warehousing with pay-as-you-use pricing model, value-added services such as product repacking, bundling and labeling, integrated logistics services with freight, customs brokering and transport for customers using the fulfillment center. All client interaction will be executed through an online platform for orders, receipts and load bookings.
Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Managing Director of Advanced Printing Technologies, Uday Hettiarachchi, states that new technology is more cost-effective than the existing technologies available for varied printing requirements, and the delay in converting into the latest versions of new technology badly affects all those who engage in the printing industry. Adding value to the printing industry, Advanced Printing Technologies, together with Japanese multinational technology company Konica Minolta, launched their next digital press, the Konica Minolta Acurio Press C83HC, recently. Accordingly, the new Acurio Press C83HC, with its unique high chroma toner covering an extended color gamut, takes print capabilities and print efficiencies to the next level with the ability to reproduce images that are difficult to achieve with standard CMYK toner like bright purples and vibrant greens. This creates brighter and more saturated images that vibrantly portray colors as seen on the computer screen. Its ability to reproduce RGB color is invaluable in expanding printing applications such as photo books, hand tags for fashion apparel, nature photography, commercial graphics, and much more. Managing Director of Advanced Printing Technologies, Uday Hettiarachchi, added that this new technology is more cost-effective than the existing technologies available for photo album printing, which will shorten the ROI period and give more flexibility for color lab owners. And now we have a subject expert at First Capital Holdings bringing you a detailed review on the stock performances for the past week and a stock forecast for the coming week to assist you in decision-making activities.
So this week we saw the market in sort of mixed reaction, where on some days we saw the market being up and on some days the market declining. This is mainly because of the wait and see approach of some of the investors in the wait for the monetary policy announcement. In the monetary policy announcement that was announced this week, we saw the policy rates being brought down by 100 basis points, one of the largest policy rate declines that we've seen. And the deposit rate was brought down to 4.5%, while the standing lending rate was brought down to around 5.5%. So with that, we saw a sudden boost in the market on Thursday, with a significant gain with heavy interest in banking sector counters. However, after that on Friday again we saw a sudden dip in the market with the spread fears on the spread of the coronavirus, sudden escalation that we've seen during Friday. So there was a sudden market reaction where the market saw a sizable drop in the market. So overall, if you see during the week, we saw the market sort of stagnating in between 5,000 and 5,200, and buying interest also mixed.
Speaking further, research head of First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, cautioned the investors that there will be some selling pressure with the sudden escalation of the coronavirus cases in the country.
Looking at the upcoming week, with the coronavirus spread that we've seen on Friday, we feel that there could be a negative impact with that on the upcoming week, and we feel that there could be a bit of a selling pressure. However, it may depend on how severe the spread of the virus is going to be, and depending on that there could be a bit of selling pressure in the market among the local investors as well. However, on the foreign front, we expect the selling pressure to continue. So overall, local and foreign front, we are likely to see more selling coming in. So with that, we may see the market dipping below the psychological 5,000 ASPI mark. So with that, we may see selling pressure coming across the board, especially some of the mid-cap and construction sector counters that we've recently seen an uptrend in. So with that, we advise investors to be a bit cautious in the upcoming days, and obviously it may be a good time to look at bargain hunting, where some of the banking counters may come down significant levels, and there could be an opportunity for buying interest.
And that's all news for today. And log into our Facebook page to get the latest news and updates. And send us your comments, views and opinions via email address and hotline. With that, we'll be signing out for today and see you on Monday with State of Business. Until then, take care and good night.